Focus to Sudan, which is battling multiple crises, armed conflict and ethnic violence have displaced millions. Outbreaks of COVID-19 and polio have strained the weak health infrastructure, and now scores of families in South Sudan are being forced to flee as floods ravage the impoverished African nation. Our next report has more.
The people of Sudan are facing multiple challenges. Families are being forced to flee their homes for many reasons. For one, ethnic violence rages on in the impoverished nation. Oil-rich Sudan is still struggling to recover from a 5-year civil war and was already suffering severe food shortages. And to this day, small clashes continue. The violence has now displaced around a third of the nation's population of 12 million, creating a massive refugee crisis across Africa. And then the coronavirus pandemic hit, restricting international aid to the poor nation. Now, Sudan finds itself besieged by the worst floods in living memory. Families are being forced to flee yet again, as nearly 830,000 people have had their houses destroyed or damaged in floods, and more than 120 have died, according to the government.
Our home was hit by the floods before, so when this flood came, we left the home. We have a lot of challenges. We don't have a plastic sheet that we can use as a canoe. We were displaced by the fighting and we fled, but we came back.
Scientists say that the unusual rains can be attributed to cyclical weather patterns, which have been exacerbated by climate change. While the country usually experiences heavy annual rain from June to October, but officials have recorded the highest water levels on the Blue Nile this year, since records began more than a century ago. Families have lost all their possessions in the worst flooding in decades. Many are fighting hunger, as their livelihoods have all but been destroyed. While the flooding has inundated homes, the dry season comes with its own set of terrors. Violence and fighting continues across South Sudan, leaving communities to fend for themselves as international aid got cut off during the pandemic as well as during the floods. And other infections are putting pressure on an already strained healthcare system.
Huge rates of malaria positivity, which we're treating at clinics and at a mobile clinic. We're also seeing a measles, a rise or a spike in measles cases here. We're also very concerned about food insecurity. 12 months of displacement has led to a lack or food shortage in the area.
The Sudanese are facing unprecedented challenges as coronavirus and other infections surge across the country. Violence and cyclical flooding continue to displace millions. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.